Hey guys, what's up? So today we'll be solving this question which is recently being asked by Google in their coding interview rounds, and it's available on LeetCode. It's called trapping rainwater. It's a hard level problem. So let's first go over the problem and then we'll talk about its visualization, explanation as well as the code. So the problem says given n non-negative integers representing an elevation map where width of each bar is 1, so every bar is of 1 unit width, compute how much water can it trap after raining. And this is some visualization diagram that they have represented. So these are the heights given to us and which is going to be given to us as a vector, and we need to return an integer representing the amount of water that can be trapped between these buildings. So for example, between these two buildings, 1 unit gets trapped, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 units here, and then 1 here. So 4 plus 1 plus 1, which is 6, is the answer that we need to return. For example, this is another test case. Given the heights of these buildings, the output is 9. So let me just explain the algorithm using this particular test case, and then we'll check for the solution as well as the code. Cool. Right, so we'll quickly go through the visualization now of the algorithm and the approach. So in a sample test case, let's say these are the values that are given to us in list, and these represent the heights of buildings. So I've just plotted these heights 4, 2, 0, 3, 2, 5 as the heights of the buildings here. And now, for example, we need to find the amount of water that can be stored on top of these buildings when it rains. So for example, let's just say that it starts to rain, and water will get stored on top of these buildings in such a way that, for example, let's say this is the barrier, so some amount of water can get stored here, and then if this is the barrier, then water can get stored here as well, and 1 unit can get stored here. Now between these two buildings, 1 unit can get stored here, and now since this building and the last building can also store water, so 1, 2, 3 and 4, so 4 units of water can also get stored here. So basically the total units of water that can get stored is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So the total amount will be 9 units of water, which is what our answer is. And this value 9 is what we want to return. Now another important thing to note is that water cannot get stored on the extreme buildings. For example, nothing can get stored here on top of this building. For example, water will simply fall from the left hand side as there's no support towards its left, and no water can get stored on top of this building because it may easily fall to the right hand side. So between two barriers or between two tall buildings is only where water can get stored. So given the heights of these buildings, we are required to find this value, which is the total units of water that can get stored in between them, where every building is 1 unit wide. So in order to solve this question, the correct approach would be for every single building, you can try to find the maximum amount of water that that particular building can store on top of it. And once we add these values for every building, we'll probably get our answer for the entire array of buildings that we are given. Now let's consider this particular building, for example. So we know that for the building of height 3 to store any water, there should be something greater than height 3 towards its right, and something greater than height 3 towards its left as well, because the water needs to be bounded by both the two sides in between the building. If there is nothing on either of its sides, then water can simply fall from that side. So for doing this, one way is to check for every single building, the greatest building on its right hand side and on its left hand side. For example, let's say we start from 4. Now for 4, we'll go to all elements towards its right, and we'll keep on checking the highest elements. So we'll check 2, 0, 3, 2, none of which is greater, and then 5, which is the highest till now. So we'll find 5 as the building which is the greatest building towards the right of 4. And similarly, let's say for 3, we'll iterate over all elements towards its right, and then we'll check for the values which are greater than 3. For example, 5 is the value which is greater than 3, and there's no value larger than 5. So we'll keep the maximum tallest building towards the right of 3 as 5. Similarly, we'll also have to iterate to the left of every element. So when we iterate to the left of 3, we'll find that we get building number 4, which is this, as greater than 3, and this is the tallest building till now. Now, how do we check the amount of water that gets stored on top of 3? It's actually easy. Water will be always bounded by the shortest of the two buildings on its two sides. And so in this case, for example, since 4 is less than 5, so our water is going to be bounded by 4. And since 4 is also taller than 3, so the water that gets stored is the difference in these two heights, that is 4 minus 3, which is 1 units of water on top of the building 3. And as you can see, the water is only 1 units. But we need to make sure that the smaller of the two tallest heights, that is 4 and 5, need to be at least taller than the current building, because only then can water be stored. So now this one was the naive or the brute force approach, and this will take you big O of n square time, because obviously for every building you'll have to iterate to all the buildings towards its right, and similarly for every building, all the buildings towards its left. So it's going to take you n square time, and this is going to be constant in terms of space because you're not using any auxiliary containers to store anything. But then time wise, there is of course a better approach that we can go for, and which is actually solved by something like dynamic programming. So what we'll do is, as we just mentioned, that for every building we need to find the tallest building on its left as well as right. So I think we can do some pre-computation to store this information. So I have drawn these buildings once again, and this time what we'll do is we'll create something like an array or a container where we will now store the heights of tallest buildings towards the left of each building. So there are, I think, 6 buildings. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the indices, and then these will be our heights of buildings. So we can start with the first building. Now there's nothing to the left of building number 4. So the height of tallest building to the left of 4, including 4, will be 4 itself. Sorry, 4 itself. Now, when we go to the second building, we'll start from this and we'll keep on moving towards the right. So we'll check if the height of this current building is larger than the height of the tallest building that we have found just till the preceding index, which is 4. So out of these, the one which is taller is going to be stored at this particular index. So for example, in this case, out of these two, 4 and 2, since 4, the previous tallest height is taller than 2, so we'll store 4 here itself. Now we'll go to the next index, 0. Again, is 0 larger or 4 larger? 4 is larger, so we'll store 4 here. Then we come to 3. Again, 4 is larger, so we'll store 4 here. Then we come to 2. Again, 4 is larger, we'll store 4 here. And then we come to the last value, 5. So 5 is larger than 4, so now we'll store the tallest as 5. So this entire array is something like the left maximum height for every building that I have. And this information alone is not enough because we need the same information for buildings on the right hand side as well. So what we can do is we can similarly create another array which is exactly similar to this, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in this one, we'll start moving from the right hand side. So currently my tallest, including the building 5, the rightmost, is going to be 5 itself. So I can store 5 over here. And then we come to building number 2. So for 2 and 5, again 5 is greater, so we'll store 5 here as well. Then for 3, again 5 is greater than 3, so we'll store 5 here. 5 is greater than 0 again, so we'll store 5 here. Again for 2, 5 is greater, so we'll store 5 as the tallest. And then for 4 also, 5 is greater, so we'll store 5 as the tallest. So this is something which is right maximum height. Now that we have these two values, all we need to do is we need to iterate through all these values simultaneously. And we need to make sure that for the current building, if out of these two, the one which is smaller is greater than the height of the current building, then water can be stored. So for example, we can have our resulting variable as, let's say, max water. So this is the answer that we want to return. And we currently initialize it with 0 because there's nothing to add. So finally, we again need to iterate over all the buildings starting from the first one. So we iterate for building number 4. For 4, the two values are 4 and 5. The smaller of these two is 4. And this is not greater than 4. So nothing can get stored on top of the first building. Then we move on to building number 2. For this, the values are again 4 and 5, out of which the smaller one is 4, which is more than 2. So 4 minus 2 is the amount of water that will get stored on top of building number 2. So we add 2 to this value and this becomes 2. Then for building number 0, the two values are again 4 and 5, out of which the smaller one is 4. So 4 minus 0 is again 4, which is what we'll add to this value. So the total water till now becomes 6. Now for value number 3, again the two values are 4 and 5, out of which the smaller one is 4. So we'll have something like 4 minus 3, which gives us 1. So we'll add 1 more to this, which becomes 7. Now for value number 2, we'll again have 4 and 5 as the values, out of which the smaller one is 4. And 4 minus 2 will give us 2. So we'll add 2 to this. So this becomes 7 plus 2, which is 9. And now for the last building number 5, the two values are 5 and 5, out of which the smaller one is again 5. And 5 minus 5 gives us 0, so nothing will get added. And finally, total amount of water stored on top of buildings as 9 units, which was our required answer as well. So this is the algorithm, and of course in this one we only iterated over all the buildings once. For example, during pre-computation we iterated over all the buildings from left to right. Then again, to calculate right max, we iterated from right to left. So this is big O of n plus big O of n. And finally, we iterated over all these buildings. So this is again another big O of n. So overall, we have the total time complexity as big O of n. And the total space required here is, so if we go back to this case, We again require two arrays to store all the values for left max and right max heights. So that's big O of n plus big O of n. So that is actually big O of 2 times n, which is asymptotically similar to big O of n itself. So this is a big O of n time and big O of n space algorithm. One optimization that we can also do here is, instead of calculating right max, we can only calculate left max, which will be big O of n space. And then while we are iterating this time to find the answer, we can keep on calculating right max in this loop itself. This is how we can save on the space for the other array. But still, asymptotically, it's going to be similar to big O of n. So it's just an optimization that you can probably tell your interviewer while you're coding. So that was about the explanation. Now let's quickly move on to the coding part. So now that we're done with the algorithm explanation, we'll quickly move on to writing the code. So we are given this trap function which accepts a vector of integers which represents the height of the building, and we are required to return an integer from this function which is representing the total amount of water that gets stored. So before we start, we can just quickly handle one small edge case, which is to check if there are at least 3 buildings available, because 2 buildings or none or one building cannot really store any water in between them. There should be at least 3 buildings to start with. So if height dot size is less than 3, which is if it's 0, 1 or 2, then no water can be stored. So we can simply return 0 as the amount of water that gets stored from this particular function. Otherwise, if there are at least 3, so 3 or more buildings, then we can move on, and we can first create a vector of integers which is going to store the tallest on left of each building. So let's call it tallest left, and this is going to be of the same height as my array, so height dot size, and let's initialize this with 0, although this is not required because we are anyway going to fill these values. So now the first building, there's nothing to the left of the first building, so tallest on left of 0 is going to be the height of the first building itself, so height of 0. And then we can start from the second building onwards and move on till the end. So let me start from index 1, and we'll go all the way till height dot size, and we'll keep on incrementing by 1 as we go along. So what we need to check is if current building is taller than the tallest that we have found on its left. So we can simply store the tallest at this index as the maximum of either the height of the current building, which is going to be given us by height of I, or the tallest on left of the previous building, which is height of I minus 1. So now that we have this, so this particular loop is going to essentially fill my entire array, this array, with the tallest buildings to the left of each building. Now, as I mentioned, we don't really need another array to store the tallest on the right. So what we can do is we can just create a variable tallest on right, and we can initialize it with the rightmost building's height. So this is going to be height of height dot size minus 1, which is the height of the rightmost building. And now we'll also have another variable called our result, or let's just call it maximum water. This is essentially what we want to return. So we are initializing the water amount with 0 for now. So we'll start from the second last building and we'll go till the first one. So let's just start from height dot size minus 2, which is the second last building, and then we'll go on till the first building, that is to the right of first building. And now what we'll do is, first we need to check the amount of water that gets stored on top of my current building. So I'll first find the smaller of the two tallest, left and right. So let's just call it smaller tallest. So this value is going to be the minimum of the tallest on my left, which is tallest left of I minus 1, and the tallest right, which I have already computed earlier, so tallest right. So this is going to give me the minimum of the two tallest buildings. And now if this value is more than my current building's height, then only water can be stored on top of my current building. So I can just check if smaller tallest is more than my current height, which is height of I. So water can be stored, and the amount of water that will be stored will be maximum water. We'll simply add the difference between the two. So we can simply add this difference, since it's taller, to our result. And once we have this, we need to make sure that we are updating this variable tallest right, because we decided to do this in this loop itself, right? So we can simply update this tallest right as maximum of, if this building already is the tallest, so tallest right, or if my current building is taller than this. So this will keep on updating the height of the tallest building to the right of each building. Now I think we are done. So we can simply return the answer as the maximum water from this function, and this should ideally work. So let's run this code to check if this works or if there are some errors. Tallest height, okay, this should be tallest left, I'm sorry. Yeah, so it works for the sample test case. Let's submit it to check if it gets accepted. And it gets accepted and it's faster than 94%. So I think this is a good solution. And yeah, so that was it for this video. If you like the video, do hit the like button, subscribe the channel for more such content, and do share it with your friends who are aspiring for software engineering interviews or coding interviews. And comment down below for any suggestions or any advices on how I can improve the quality of my videos, or if you have any doubts related to this particular question, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.